This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined by Johnny Nelson here in Cardiff. Johnny, firstly, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm good. I'm hungry.
I can imagine, Johnny, and I apologise for the technical issues that I'm going through at the minute. Straight into it. We've got Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Williams fight night ahead of us on Saturday night. What do you make of this fight, Johnny?
Good fight. Good fight to start Sky Sports Boxing with for 2022. February, we had no boxing in January. Nobody did in the country. We're back in the mix again, so good way to start. A good menu to put on the viewing schedule.
How are you expecting it to play out?
Good fight. I actually think Eubank will try and back box and bash. I think Liam Williams has got to talk Eubank into having a tear up, which is possible. But will he try and play on Eubank's ego and say, come on, step inside, do you dare? And Eubank's ego might actually get involved in that. And if it does, then we've got a fight. This fight won't set alight until about after 4 rounds, and then 4 rounds the pattern of the fight will have been set.
There's been some people who have been critical of Junior since his team up with Roy Jones. I just want to get your thoughts on that. You know, people don't seem to think he's quite yet been able to get that style implemented into his own.
No, that's going to take time. It's going to take time if you do something new like that. Of course, it's going to take time. What do you expect? And so things like this don't happen overnight. You know, and when it does, it'd be perfect. That's exactly what Eubank need to make his style completely rounded. And so getting someone like Roy Jones, you couldn't ask for anything better.
In Liam Williams' case, he's obviously left that Ingle gym as well, teamed up with Adam Booth. I'll just get your thoughts on that.
If I left the Ingle gym, I'd have gone to Adam Booth. I think Adam Booth, I rate him as a trainer, rate his attitude, rate and how he works. So if you can't handle the Ingle way, Adam is probably very similar. And so I do get it. So I don't think it's a bad move. I think it's a good move. If he'd gone to somebody else, then I said that's a bad move. But I don't know the move.
Johnny, just moving away from this fight, just give your thoughts on an obvious other topic, the heavyweight division. Mm-hmm. Last Friday we saw the largest purse bids in boxing history take place, where Frank Warren and Bob Arum combined bid successfully for the Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte fight. Just get your reaction to that when you saw it.
Well, that shows that it's in demand. It shows that, because I actually thought, after obviously Anthony Joshua losing and then Fury beating Wilder, you thought, where's Fury going to get such a big fight again? And again pops this fight against Dillian Whyte, and that's why it shows how much of a demand it's in. Dillian Whyte has a good chance, but he's getting in with the best fighter in the world. Tyson Fury has proved that officially, like it or not. And so Dillian Whyte has got to go in there and try and fight his kind of fire. And again, to raise that kind of money in such a fight, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Great news for the fighters, but it's mad.
I've seen the reports since that Dillian obviously still been quiet on the fight, and the WBC have said he's got until February 21st to officially sign his contracts. Yeah. I just want to get your take on why you think Dillian's been so silent and why he hasn't done so. It seems to be there's still that ongoing debate over the purse split.
Well, I don't believe Dillian, it's down to Dillian, because Dillian would fight for nothing. So I think this is down to the business side of it. It's what's like buying a car. You're going to try and go to and fro about trying to knock it down and try and get as much out of it as you can before the car gets sold to somebody else. And they'll try and push it to the wire. Dillian's not the kind of guy that... Money's not his god. Neither is Tyson Fury. Is it with Tyson Fury? And so this is the businessmen, the business behind it. This fight will happen. If it's really going to happen, the fight's going to happen.
I was going to get a word as well on Anthony Joshua. Now, many expected to maybe see him step aside so that Fury Usyk for an undisputed title fight could have taken place. Frank Warren said that AJ changed his demands and asked for another £5 million on top of what was originally set at $15 million. Just get your take on those comments.
Well, if that was true, what Frank said, then that means, you know, when you price yourself out of a job, that's what AJ did. So AJ basically didn't want to step aside. So he said, give me 15. I'm just surmising. Yeah. Give me 15 million. Yeah, all right. Oh, no. Give me 20 million. Yeah, all right. No, give me 25 million. He's basically saying, I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. And AJ basically said, unless you hear it from me, don't believe what you hear. And I get it's good business if it was the case. You know, to be getting paid 15, 20 million for sitting down and watch two guys fight. If that was the case, it's good business. But it wasn't the case. You know, so and if what Frank Warren is saying is true, then it tells me that, again, it wasn't the case because I suppose like Tyson playing with AJ was playing with them saying, no, give me 20 million. No, give me 25. No, give me a bit more. So I get it. I get two people can play games, and that's just how it is.
Do you think it would have been wise on AJ's behalf to have stepped aside?
No, because at the end of the day, he lost to somebody, and he thought, you know what, I can beat this guy. I know what I can do. It's about self-confidence, self-belief. This is what people were saying when he lost to Ruiz. Don't get in with him. You know, it's the worst thing you can do. And then look what he did the second time around. And I know it was a different kind of loss. But what I'm saying is, AJ can still come back and redeem himself in this. So when if people are dangling a massive carrot in front of him, you know, to say, come on, take this, we'll give you this, we'll give you this. He basically didn't take it. If they'd have offered you 10 million to step aside and guarantee you'd fight the win afterwards, most people would take it. You said, I ain't doing that. So you played the game with him. Give me an extra 5. Give me an extra 5.
With that in mind, Johnny, especially with his talk about him bringing in a new trainer, do you think that would have factored in at all? Do you think, again, that might have been beneficial for him to have at least gone away, had a fight in the interim with somebody else in his corner?
No, not at all. Because when you've got a fight, say Saturday night's coming, that's one night. So these guys have been training for 3 or 4 months with their trainers, doing what they're doing. So for them to go away and perform one night to say, right, we've got to make sure it works. If it's not working, you'd know in the 3 or 4 months building up to the fight if it's not working or not. So he's making decisions that work for him. You know, and AJ's clearly shown he's the kind of guy that is very adaptable. And so I get it. You know, listen, if you can't see the vision, you can't see the vision. He can see the vision. He knows what works for him. What worked for him in the Ruiz fight, you know, and so he thinks, right, that didn't work. I'll try this again.
Final one. If you're Alexander Usyk and you see all of that unfolding, what do you think is going to go through? What would have gone through his mind?
Well, you look at Alexander Usyk after the fight against AJ. He cut their eyes done in and everything. And he totally, you know, did a job on AJ because AJ tried to fight Usyk's style of fight. Now AJ's learned his lesson to say, I ain't going to do that again. I'm going to fight my kind of fight. So it might be a different outcome. So Usyk's no fool. You know, I've seen this guy from when he was in fourth, as a professional. He was in his 4th fight. He's no fool. He's not going to get suckered in like the fans and think, oh my God, and get panicked about things or overthink things. He's going to concentrate on himself.
All right, Johnny, we'll finally leave that there now. I apologise once again for because thankfully it has. I hope so. Anyway, we'll soon find out. But it all seems to have gone well. I appreciate you sticking around and sticking with me. Thank you for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Peace, man. Peace.